An update on our school's strategic plan and find out different ways how they can become more involved to help us push our missions here at the school.
This experience for Bring a Parent Day is awesome. We as parents, we get to know what our students are doing on a daily basis. We get to interact with their teachers. We get to interact with them at the same time that they're doing their daily activities. Schools should be doing this. That way parents can get a feel of what our students do on a daily basis.
Shorty, the cat is
So far, they've been teaching me everything about the library, the fruit they're planting, the prizes they get, if they behave in the school. And so far, it's so good. They're doing a good job with the kids.
And our parents are just here to have a great time and experience what school's all about.
Today on Bridging Futures, Casey Elementary School's Casey Arcade.
We are so excited to show you what we've got going on in here. We have been collaborating. We have been doing so much to get these games together. This is our third year doing it. We invite all the kids from the school to come and play games. Teachers donate prizes, parents donate prizes.
This is really important for me because we're actually collaborating and communicating, and we're not just sitting and writing and doing work. We're actually learning, but in a different way than other people.
So one of the challenges we have in today's education system is allowing our kids to go beyond the normal day-to-day thinking. I'm standing here in front of Ms. Facella's classroom, a teacher who's taken that same idea and really made it a reality. She's designed something called Casey Arcade, where kids take an idea, they design it, they engineer an actual physical arcade game from their ideas to have kids put it into practice. The kids get to play with it, it's enjoyable and it's fun, and it goes beyond the day-to-day thinking. It allows kids to go into the world of STEM in a very, very direct and supportive way.
And this really helps us with critical thinking, collaboration, and interacting with a whole lot of other people.
And the kids are so excited to show you what they've got going on in here. Let's go take a peek.
Today on Bridging Futures, Kelly Elementary School's Bring Your Parent to School Day.
I'm Raymond Delgado, proud principal of JP Kelly Elementary School. Today we're hosting Take Your Parent to School Day. It's our second year hosting this event, and this year it's even bigger and better. What parents get to do today is join me for coffee with the principal to get an update on our school's strategic plan and find out different ways how they can become more involved to help us push our missions here at the school.
This experience for Bring a Parent Day is awesome. We as parents, we get to know what our students are doing on a daily basis. We get to interact with their teachers, we get to interact with them at the same time that they're doing their daily activities. Schools should be doing this, that way parents can get a feel of what our students do on a daily basis.
Shorty, the cat is the chair.
And so far they've been teaching me everything about the library, the food they're planning, the prizes they get, if they're actually behaving in school. And so far it's so good. They're doing a good job with the kids.
And our parents are just here to have a great time and experience what school's all about.
Today on Bridging Futures, Casey Elementary School's Casey Arcade.
We are so excited to show you what we've got going on in here. We have been collaborating. We have been doing so much to get these games together. This is our third year doing it. We invite all the kids from the school to come and play games. Teachers donate prizes, parents donate prizes.
This is really important for me because we're actually collaborating and communicating, and we're not just sitting and writing and doing work. We're actually learning, but in a different way than other people.
So one of the challenges we have in today's education system is allowing our kids to go beyond the normal day-to-day thinking. I'm standing here in front of Ms. Fasela's classroom, a teacher who's taken that same idea and really made it a reality. She's designed something called Casey Arcade, where kids take an idea, they design it, they engineer an actual physical arcade game from their ideas to have kids put it into practice. The kids get to play with it, it's enjoyable and it's fun, and it goes beyond the day-to-day thinking. It allows kids to go into the world of STEM in a very, very direct and supportive way.
And this really helps us with critical thinking, collaboration, and interacting with a whole lot of other people.
And the kids are so excited to show you what they've got going on in here. Let's go take a peek.
Today on Bridging Futures, Kelly Elementary School's Bring Your Parent to School Day.
I'm Raymond Delgado, proud principal of JP Cali Elementary School. Today we're hosting Take Your Parent to School Day. It's our second year hosting this event, and this year it's even bigger and better. What parents get to do today is join me for coffee with the principal to get an update on our school's strategic plan and find out different ways how they can become more involved to help us push our missions here at the school.
This experience for Bring a Parent Day is awesome. We as parents, we get to know what our students are doing on a daily basis. We get to interact with their teachers. We get to interact with them at the same time that they're doing their daily activities. Schools should be doing this. That way parents can get a feel of what our students do on a daily basis.
Shorty, the caddy.
So far, they've been teaching me everything about the library, the food they're planning, the prizes they get, if they behave in school, and so far, so good. They're doing a good job with the kids.
And our parents are just here to have a great time and experience what school's all about.
Today on Bridging Futures, Casey Elementary School's Casey Arcade.
We are so excited to show you what we've got going on in here. We have been collaborating. We have been doing so much to get these games together. This is our third year doing it. We invite all the kids from the school to come and play games. Teachers donate prizes, parents donate prizes.
This is really important for me because we're actually collaborating and communicating, and we're not just sitting and writing and doing work. We're actually learning, but in a different way than other people.
So one of the challenges we have in today's education system is allowing our kids to go beyond the normal day-to-day thinking. I'm standing here in front of Ms. Facella's classroom, a teacher who's taken that same idea and really made it a reality. She's designed something called Casey Arcade, where kids take an idea, they design it, they engineer an actual physical arcade game from their ideas to have kids put it into practice. The kids get to play with it, it's enjoyable and it's fun, and it goes beyond the day-to-day thinking. It allows kids to go into the world of STEM in a very, very direct and supportive way.
And this really helps us with critical thinking, collaboration, and interacting with a whole lot of other people.
And the kids are so excited to show you what they've got going on in here. Let's go take a peek.
Today on Bridging Futures, Kelly Elementary School's Bring Your Parent to School Day.
I'm Raymond Delgado, proud principal of JP Cali Elementary School. Today we're hosting Take Your Parent to School Day. It's our second year hosting this event, and this year it's even bigger and better. What parents get to do today is join me for coffee with the principal to get an update on our school's strategic plan and and find out different ways how they can become more involved to help us push our missions here at the school.
This experience for Bring a Parent Day is awesome. We as parents, we get to know what our students are doing on a daily basis. We get to interact with their teachers. We get to interact with them at the same time that they're doing their daily activities. Schools should be doing this. That way parents can get a feel of what our students do on a daily basis.
Shorty, the cat
And so far they've been teaching me everything about the library, the food they're planning, the prizes they get, if they're behaving in school. And so far it's so good. They're doing a good job with the kids.
And our parents are just here to have a great time and experience what school's all about.
Today on Bridging Futures, Casey Elementary School's Casey Arcade.
We are so excited to show you what we've got going on in here. We have been collaborating. We have been doing so much to get these games together. This is our third year doing it. We invite all the kids from the school to come and play games. Teachers donate prizes, parents donate prizes.
This is really important for me because we're actually collaborating and communicating, and we're not just sitting and writing and doing work. We're actually learning, but in a different way than other people.
So one of the challenges we have in today's education system is allowing our kids to go beyond the normal day-to-day thinking. I'm standing here in front of Ms. Facella's classroom, a teacher who's taken that same idea and really made it a reality. She's designed something called Casey Arcade, where kids take an idea, they design it, they engineer an actual physical arcade game from their ideas to have kids put it into practice. The kids get to play with it, it's enjoyable and it's fun, and it goes beyond the day-to-day thinking. It allows kids to go into the world of STEM in a very, very direct and supportive way.
And this really helps us with critical thinking, collaboration, and interacting with a whole lot of other people.
And the kids are so excited to show you what they've got going on in here. Let's go take a peek.
Nancy.
Do we have a motion to close adjournment for a closed session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Time is 7:07. Tonight we have a full agenda, but first let's have Kodiak Elementary School third grade student Hank Porter lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand. Remove all hats and hoods. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Hank. And now, selected Kodiak Lion Cubs from kindergarten to 5th grade will enter and sing their school song, Kodiak Cubs Roar. We want to also thank Kodiak parents, principal Dr. Ebony Kemp, and assistant principal Mrs. Emily Dominguez for being here tonight to support our talented students. Thank you. And with that, Dr. Avila, do we have a report out of closed session?
Yes, we do. We have 2 items. The Board of Education accepted the administrative appointment of Erica Bennett, Middle School Assistant Principal, Rialto Middle School. The roll call vote was unanimous. And the Board of Education accepted the administrative appointment of Corey Bobrick, Elementary Assistant Principal, Boyd Elementary School. The roll call vote was unanimous.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. Next, we go to the adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda as stated?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Preferential vote by student board member?
Aye.
Thank you. Vote by board members?
Aye.
Next, we go to presentation, item B1, Burlington Coat Factories adopt a school program announcement.
Good evening, Board of Education and Superintendent. Thank you to the Rialto Unified School District Board of Education for having me here tonight. My name is Anita Haro, and I'm the store manager for the new Burlington at the Renaissance Marketplace. It's going to be opening up this Friday. At Burlington, community is at our core. Throughout the year, Burlington partners with a number of national nonprofit organizations to help make a difference in the communities where we live and work. We work hard to raise money for campaigns with partners like Light the Night and adoptaclassroom.org, as well as collecting codes for our national annual code drive. You know who else works hard? Teachers. So how about a round of applause for all of our teachers here. We know they spend a lot of their time and even some of their own money on stuff they use in their classrooms. So to celebrate our new Burlington store in Rialto, we have a special surprise for the Dunn Elementary School. Are there any members of the Dunn Elementary School here? Can you guys come up? If you guys can join me. So with the help of our friends at adoptaclassroom.org, we're adopting all of your teachers today. It is my pleasure to present you a $10,000 check. And we have adopted your teachers at Dunn Elementary. Wow. Super excited.
That's cool.
That's a good way to start.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wait. Let's get up there. We need one. That's $10,000.
So,
Is it 10,000?
thank you again for the opportunity for us being here tonight, and thank you for everything you do each day, helping to educate our great community, and we couldn't be happier to join the Rialto community. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll let you say it for hours.
Please feel free to come by anytime.
Be more.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I didn't know I have to talk, but again, I'm Serena Wynn. I'm the principal at Dunn Elementary. This is my other counterpart, Tina Linkenfelter, my assistant principal. We're just really, really honored to receive this. I mean, our school really needs the support, so thank you so much. Trust me, we can spend this, and there's a lot of things we can utilize to with this money that we're receiving. So we don't know. We're shocked, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's like our prayers being answered. We were looking for somebody, so I really appreciate for your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Wow. Awesome.
Congratulations, Dunn Elementary School, and again, Burlington Coat Factory. We can't thank you enough. It means a lot. It means a lot to all of us.
Now clarify, is it Burlington or they took off the coat factory?
Oh, not on the agenda, but it's all good. I'm just saying. No, but thank you so much. Thank you again. So next we go to presentation item B2. Presentation by John Roach, Lead Academic Technology Agent, regarding the middle school transformation phase 1.
The other one. Right, the remote. Just powered on. There you go. All right, well, good evening. Not sure if it's coming through the mic. Good evening, Vice President Montez, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Avila. Excited to be here this evening. I'm going to wait for the projector to warm up a little bit there so I can share my presentation. But my name is John Roach, Lead Academic Technology Agent here for the district. And with me tonight for the presentation is Dr. Vince Rollins, the principal of Frisbee Middle School. So, at the request of Dr. Avila, we're here to talk about some of the transformation of our middle schools. I know it's been a priority for the board, and under the leadership of Dr. Avila, we've started to do some activities. And really, for me, after I turn this on, last year I was the support provider for all of the middle schools, and I had the opportunity to work directly with all of them. One of them, Frisbee Middle School, I had a chance to really get my hands in there and try to do some things that would lead to transformation as we go down the line. And so I wanted to share some of the activities that I was able to initiate and then transition to Dr. Rollins as he became the principal of Frisbee Middle School. So during my time there, what happened was, for me, when you're going to transform a school, it's really important to listen to the needs of the staff. What is it that they're needing? Where do they see that they want to go? So when I was there, I really wanted to make sure that I had a chance to hear some of the things that they saw the school needed to improve or transform. From that, I kind of saw some different recommended layout changes. So I'm going to share some of those with you. And when I say layout changes, I mean, can we change the space that we currently have to be more effective for students? When I'm having these conversations with many of our principals and school leadership, and I see a classroom, I want to see more open space, because I want to make sure that there's room for the students and the teachers to move around. And as we brought in technology, you may be aware we've brought in over 21,000 devices over the last 2 years into our district. When you're bringing in all that equipment, you need room for people to move around and use it correctly. And then really just trying to identify what are those immediate priorities that we can solve right now. And so from that, it led to already a process of really looking at what furniture can we provide to the front office areas, for the reception, for the secretary, for when the public comes in, they see that we are ready to work with students into the 21st century. We also changed the furniture of the attendance office, again, wanting to make it where there's more room for employees and students and teachers to move around. We changed and moved the ASB office. So on the left is the room where the ASB office was originally. It was a small little conference space. And we moved it to a larger space where there could be appropriate workstations for staff. And there's a counter you see there in the front that we kind of reallocated so that then as students and parents needed to come and pay their fees or pay for activities on campus, it was set up in a way that was much more usable space. Changed some of where the assistant principals were. So if you've ever been to Frisbee, we kind of flip-flopped because we wanted to support efforts of PBIS and make sure that there was space again where it was, just because students might be struggling with behavior, they still need to be supported on campus in a way that makes them feel included, not isolated. You'll see on the top, cleaning and removing a lot of supplies. All of our schools, especially the middle schools, there's a lot of materials. On the top, you see the status of kind of one of our rooms when it gets loaded with things that are no longer needed in the district. And on the bottom, you see when I take and I kind of organize on a variety of shelves and we change the space to where it's actually usable, then you end up being able to remove the surplus and then bring in items that can be used that are new. So one of the exciting things I had an opportunity to work on is start to look at space of how we wanted to transform it. So what you see here is a plan. We've ordered new furniture for the library, which will become more of a media center. Again, furniture that's more kind of a cafe style for students, gives them opportunities to sit down, utilize technology that's there, as well as all the other materials of books and other media. Looking at a learning center. So you've heard of a wellness center, but a learning center is a concept where students can come in small groups and be pulled into those groups with different teachers and different support staff to receive instruction at what they need. And so this room connected to the media center will allow us to do that flexibility. You can see different tiered seating. So sometimes when you're teaching and the student in the back of the room can't always see, so this room is being designed to where the students in the back are at a higher level than the students in the front, so the views to the front are not obstructed, as well as all the furniture moves and rotates off to the side. And we'll be supporting it with some of the new technologies of the interactive digital displays. So as I pull a group of students, then I have that technology right there to be able to work with the students in the classroom. We have some high-needs students. We have an MH room that needed to be updated. So looking at furniture that's more ergonomic to the students. Healthcare grade wobble chairs and stools. So if there's accidents or issues, that it can be dealt with appropriately. And then just, again, upgrading to where the furniture is more designed to make sure that the teacher can interact with the students appropriately. So this is a sample layout that will be coming probably in October to that school, to Frisbee Middle School. Here's another one I'm working on with our special education department of really kind of a calming center or a room where all students of all ability, all levels can have an opportunity to go again, work with teachers. You'll see in the upper left-hand corner, basically that's an area that you'll see on some of the college campuses when students need to work alone and yet still stay focused. So there's soundproofing around that chair so that I can go in, and if I'm a student that maybe auditorily the noises are bothering me, I can have some time to separate myself and yet still continue with the work that I need to do and be a part of the class. As well as you can see some other designs of just the furniture from the previous. Again, the flexible seating that you've heard about, this is what it looks like at the secondary level. Furniture that's appropriate for the size of our students at the secondary level and can quickly be moved and manipulated through the classroom for the activities that we want students to be doing. One of the other pieces that I've been working on is when you look at some of the office space for our staff, they end up in a smaller space with furniture that's too big for that space. So here is an area that I'm working on where we can take an existing office and make sure that the workstations for the staff is appropriate, as well as provide tables that they can, this is an RSP office, so they can actually then hold their IEP meetings right there in their room. They can also be supported with technology through those tables, and yet then the furniture that we can provide allows us to make sure that the confidential materials that needs to be put away in confidential is appropriately stored as well. So this was an exciting one I'm looking forward to again coming in October as well. One of the things that I'm noticing at the middle schools is just a need for appropriate science tables so we can do the labs, as well as on the right you can see changes we've already made at our professional development center of a sample classroom where you have more flexible seating. So that table and chair design allows all kinds of configurations. You can have partners side by side, or you can see all the way up to where you can do an octagon of tables of 8 where everybody, it's kind of a round table design, right? And so it can be configured in all kinds of different shapes and sizes from that. We have robotics at the middle school, and one of the challenges I see is we don't have furniture that's appropriate to do robotics as well as in the classroom. So here's some samples of furniture that I've ordered that basically provide, that chair on the left is one of those ergonomic designs where the students can sit 4 different ways, and so it's a much more comfortable seat that they can turn, transition, they can sit on it like a stool. And on the right is what's called a work table, where not only do you have an appropriate workspace for students, but you have secure storage. So in a classroom there where the science teacher also teaches robotics, we want to be able to provide that he can do both his science and his robotics and have everything neat and secure and available for students when they're ready for it. Some other things that I'm working on with the middle schools as we transition and transform is really looking at the master schedule. I know we always talk about it needs to be built for students, and that's really a priority, is making sure we're really doing the course requests in a way that makes sure that we are meeting the needs of the students. Adjusting classrooms, so sometimes when you want to make changes to a school, you have to find teachers that are willing to move from one classroom to another because you envision that class could become a wellness center or a learning center as we described, and so those are things that are happening in discussions at all of the middle schools. Transitioning to a full inclusion model for students designated RSP, so this is important that we want to make sure that students are spread throughout the campus to make sure that they're receiving instruction at the appropriate level. And then really identifying additional improvements needed for student safety. So part of our transformation of our schools, especially our middle schools, is if they haven't been updated for a while, what are the things that we can do that we're going to see immediate results from that revolve around student safety? So that was kind of the nutshell of things I was working on, and then as we that's kind of the plant, so the management of it, and then we have, you've approved a contract for another year with Innovate Ed, and so being able to work directly with the teachers and really have those discussions, preparing for year 2 where we identified a specific school focus, so this relates to their strategic plan and their single plan for student achievement, and have the ability to kind of make sure all of our plans that we have to write as schools are moving in the same direction. Also was able to identify specific outcomes with the Innovate Ed team at Frisbee Middle School of areas related to instruction, so like an instruction goal, and then also building relationships with students related to PBIS, so that we make sure that students are being supported not only in the academics, but in the way that we're working with them and building those relationships. And then really developed a tentative timeline, because working with all the middle schools, we wanted to take the work that we were doing with Innovate Ed in year 1 and determine how do we transition and really implement as we move into year 2, And then that is where I was able to then start working not only with Dr. Rollins, but the other middle school principals that are new to their positions, and where are we going with our transformation of middle school. So with that, I'm going to turn the rest of the time over to Dr. Rollins to talk about things he's moving forward with at Frisbee.
Morning, school board. Dr. Avila, Innovate team. Thank you for having me here tonight. Let me just begin with, shifting from an elementary, where my background's elementary, but what a great opportunity and how excited I am, and compared to the past few years, to have this new journey. As we were at the summer leadership, our workshop over the summer with our USD management, as I sat in the classroom and I was about 6 seats back and I realized I couldn't see the PowerPoint, I myself shut down on my engagement, got on my cell phone and what have you. So I started thinking, come July 11th, July 12th, when I was announced principal, what's it going to look like for our students in middle school? I just came from an elementary setting where we worked very, very hard as a team, providing some flexible seating at certain schools. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I have to start over. What's it going to look like? Fortunate for me, I'm blessed. I had the opportunity to follow behind John as he pretty much laid the foundation and set the pathway in a direction that I would have wanted to go myself. John and I have worked together over the years at various capacities, and I'm really excited and, as I said, blessed that he's got some of these things going, because that's cutting down a lot of time of me having to figure it out myself. So I thank you very much for that, Mr. Roach. Again, as I said, it's a great opportunity. I'm excited. I'm transitions. I am at Frisbee and I'm there for the long haul. First and foremost, I recognize I needed to acknowledge the past, but we as a team and a site need to embrace the future. So in doing that, number one, any good leader is you need to listen. Also observe, but listen. Listen to the needs. Listen to some of the information Mr. Roach was able to provide me as he spent some time in there for a few months. And listen. Had to identify, listen, and learn, and build upon the strengths at Frisbee Middle School. There's a well-established staff there. They've been around many years. They've been respected. There's great things going on there. They've just gone through a bit as a site. But learning and listening and building on the strengths. They're a school-wide AVID. I felt comfortable in the fact that I've been a part of the AVID trainings the past couple of years. Secondly is building relationships. Relationships and trust. Listening, watching, but also taking action upon things that I can act on quickly. Showing action-oriented leadership. Someone needs a stapler. Here's my stapler. Be on your way. Let's get you back in the classroom. Building trust and rapport with the staff, getting to know them, and I'm very excited for what's going to happen not only this year, but the upcoming years. Expanding the work of the PBIS team. This year, I know that Rialto Middle School has done the reward system. It's a app-based PBIS points. Instead of giving kids tickets or Frisbee Falcon bucks or what have you, it's a quick check, whether it's the Surface Pro or their phones, and they can immediately purchase items from the app. So that's very effective. We're getting a lot of awards out there. We're actually probably going to have to replenish the student store because it's really on fire at Frisbee. Also with the PBIS team is recently, with the support of Melissa Rubio and Dr. McDuffie, had a meeting and was introduced to some mentoring partnerships that I'm looking forward to move towards, and providing some additional Tier 2, Tier 3 supports from of our underserved students and at-risk students that need additional supports above and beyond the traditional classroom and school setting. Next is identifying strategies and resources to support students. As I transitioned from the elementary school level to the middle school, I immediately recognized or started the question, what does intervention look like in middle school? We have amazing teachers that have single subjects, whether it's in reading or mathematics or what have you, and I kind of came in with a different lens and tried to figure out, how are we meeting the needs of these children that need support in establishing the foundational literacy skills? What are we doing with our kids that are at second, third grade level in terms of reading, but we're teaching classical novels, we're teaching other things. So I'm kind of going out and I'm identifying some supports, resources, and as soon as we get a strategist in place, we're going to move into strategic interventions for these kids. Professional development book studies. A lot of what can be done is aesthetic, just by what you see. But also we want to work on aligning. Number one, establishing a focus. Also, we want to build a collective, collaborative culture. We want to work together. I don't have all the answers as a school leader, but I know that there is enough knowledge in the room or on that campus to collectively develop a shared vision and purpose for where we want to go from now to the future at Frisbee. Investing in human resources, building capacity within the staff, and getting to a point or a culture where they don't need external accountability. They don't need an administrator or someone coming down telling them what to do or questioning what they are doing, but that they develop such a culture and a collaborative culture to where they hold each other accountable because they're raising the bar within their teams, within their buildings, and so forth to move kids and provide services that is best for all children. Outside of kind of the mindset, professional development, we're also looking at, I've got some information on some highly effective sites. I'm looking at doing some site visits, some tours, working closely with our site leadership team, which is really the Innovate team, along with some of the Avid key players in our Avid team, as well as PBIS, visiting some other campuses and seeing what's working, what's going well, and seeing how we can come back and at our site start rolling out some effective strategies and systems to best meet our students' needs. But as far as additional improvements, as I first got on the campus, it's somewhat sterile. It's a great place, there's a lot of kids, a lot of energy, a lot of activities, but I just noticed it needs a little color. It's an appeal process now. We've been approved, and I believe it should happen pretty soon. I should have dates to go through and paint the interior of the buildings. Starting with the hallways, looking at a two-tone paint, getting some color in there. Right now it's not a lot of color. But also I came across something, I'm like, what a great idea this would be. We want to walk into the building. We want children, as they walk through, they see future. They know that they think. They see some key words and characters, generosity, knowledge, things to inspire them. Words in front of their face, they'll start thinking about it. Providing an environment where it's about instruction, it's about learning, it's about future, whether it's college or career, it's there. So I want to start putting those words in the faces of our children and staff. Looking at the quad, I've been working closely with Brian Montez. He's drawn up some great ideas. And we're looking at bringing in new trees. There's not enough places for the children to sit. They're standing or sitting on the curbs where the lockers used to be. I'm like, how do we get these kids in a better environment outside of the classroom, but in the courtyard? So we're looking at benches. We're looking at bringing in some trees. We're looking at establishing a wellness garden, which is, you'll see in a moment, just outside of what's going to be the wellness center. Creating some additional walkways, and ideally we'll have some new grass. This is the north side of the quad. You see the stairs there across the front, at the top, that's where the multi-purpose room is. Establishing a walkway over there to the left, because kids are cutting through the grass. But you see the little cutouts, the half moons? Those are, we're looking at benches, some seating areas. Right now there are 3 or 4 benches that are 8 feet long for 1,200 children. So a lot of kids standing around. When they're standing around, they play around. When they play around, they find other things to do, and it leads to maybe them not being in the classroom where they should be. So looking at providing a park-like setting, a healthy environment, a place where children are pleased to be at, happy to be at. Again, you see this is the south side of the campus, or the quad. Again, lots of cutouts. We're looking at 12-foot wide seating areas, more of a park-like setting, removing the palm trees that provide little to no shade. They're beautiful and they've been there a long time, but they're not benefiting our children. Over here to the right, you see a wellness garden, looking at providing it as a special place. Different type seating in there, maybe some picnic benches or what sort, but also even a water feature. Just the sound of hearing the water moving and so forth. And just south of that, or just below that, is where the wellness center is located. Okay, so very excited about that. just some color, and I'm going to talk with the Innovate team on our site, but this is just an example. If you drive by the school, you see staff parking only, you see certain signs, but you don't see anything that brings to life, this is a school, we've got some recognition, we're a highly certified AVID school. Just kind of share with the community, let them see what's going on. Another example, we have a large wall by the library. Easy access from the street, everybody can see it, but right now it's a blank wall. This is something I know Tobin Brinker was a big part of it, Dr. Avila, all of our students on campus, for the 50-year anniversary of Frisbee. This is just a mock-up, and it's not even it's first draft. But there's a walkway from the multi-purpose room down into what we call the Falcon's Nest. Other than the trees, there's no way to really identify what this place is. So we're looking at putting something there to identify, stand out as a Falcon's Nest. We're looking at it as part of PBIS. Students that are doing really well and maybe have that a special place once the tree's developed. Maybe they can eat lunch amongst the trees in the Falcon's Nest. Another thing, you know, we're all about college and career. When I'm talking about color, aside, above and beyond just painting the walls, how exciting it would be to where every classroom has some university, college, or career, something to walk into. I'm in UCLA next period, and I share with the teachers, if you change grade levels or rooms, you're gonna have to change colleges because we're not removing the doors. But this is just something that's really gonna pop in the hallways with the two-tone paint, and then you have universities from East Coast to West Coast, throughout the campus. I know our staff, those I've shared it with, are really, really excited to see it. And I think it'll bring a lot more school pride. I mean, this is just one element. It all starts with the hearts and the minds of the individuals, starting with the adults, but also the children and so forth. But you put something in front of them, it sparks a conversation. It starts a dream, a belief. I can go there. You know, it just changes the mindsets of everyone involved. So looking at some color, external graphics, and so forth, to really bring alive Frisbee and to highlight and build on the strengths and the potential of everybody involved on our campus, from students, parents. Parents are a big part of what we're going to move in with, bring forward with additional workshops, leadership trainings, and so forth. So I'm blessed to be there, very excited. And watch between now and the end of the year, you're going to see a lot of change. Not only what you see, but there's some chatter out there. There's some positive chatter. I'm getting some positive feedback. And I can't wait to see where this school is at the end of the year. Or even by Christmas, to be quite honest with you.
I'll just close out saying thank you for your time. We'll be probably working with many of the other schools as well as current supervisor and support provider for the other middle schools. So if you have any questions or would like more information, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Dr. Rollins.
We can't ask questions now?
Yes.
Yeah, give us a second.
Sure.
John had his tennis shoes on ready to go.
I didn't wear the tennis shoes today. I have my dress shoes on.
Hold on.
So I had a couple questions. First, Dr. Rollins, you talked about the aesthetics is around the wall. So when you had the word clouds on there, are those specifically what's going to be there? Or you're just showing us an idea of what that? Okay.
We're going to start with something, but ideally it's student generated.
Okay.
And we'll get there. But absolutely.
Okay.
I don't want to put words, these that come from them, and it'll be student created, teacher created, and so forth, but that's an idea.
Okay. So my other thing was just around a couple of things with the greenery around the school. So years ago, and I don't know why, but they chopped down the trees, they took the trees down in front of Frisbee years ago. There were trees in the front of Frisbee.
Okay.
So those are gone now. So I just want to know, while we're planting trees and thinking about adding additional green space in Frisbee, what was the rationale? And somebody else would have to, who's got a little more institutional memory than I have, why the trees were taken down from in front of Frisbee. And then if we're adding greenery, is that in line with where we're going with our sustainability in the district? Because I would hate to be talking about these ideas and then 3 years later be like, oh, we got to pull all the grass up now and put rocks,
Right.
Because everything is going to rocks and cactus. So I'm just
I understand, but I'm just saying, I know this is your ideas, but are these ideas as far as the greenery, have they been already kind of funneled through the district and what the sustainability plan is?
Right. I can't answer as far as the trees that left the front of the campus.
Right.
I do know that I've worked very closely with Brian Montez, and he's doing projects throughout the district. Again, I can't answer sustainability if we're going to rocks. I mean, this is a student area. We don't want to go straight concrete and rocks where kids, again, have no place to sit and be children in between passing periods or before and after school. Some of those questions would be for Brian Montez. My thing is, when we're doing different things, whether the wellness garden that we're looking at is more rock base and cactus versus grass and turf, that's an option as well. I know that these are some ideas. I know the staff's embraced it and talked about how nice it would be. But again, I have to work closely with Brian and trust that he knows the future and longevity of grass versus rock and so forth, and what the next direction in 5 years from now might be.
Sounds good.
And Ms. Walker, just know that I have asked Mohammed and his team to submit a district-wide proposal.
Okay.
We're going to more water-resistant plants throughout the district, including this facility here.
Okay.
And so whatever the proposal will be, I'm sure will be in concert with what the district is moving towards.
Okay, sounds
good. And I'd invite any of you to come take a walk and kind of see, and maybe you have additional ideas as well. We're here to support the children, and you guys have final decisions in everything we do. So I do invite you over. I think it's a start forward. It's a step forward, and if we veer and change paths along the way, I'm absolutely fine with that. As long as it's in alignment to what's best with children and also supporting the district's mission, vision, and goals.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, anybody else?
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I think it's a great idea. Whoever made the decision some time back to remove the trees, I think made a big mistake. I think we know now that they were really needed. They should have never been pulled out, but that's water under the bridge, like Mr. Ayala would say. That was then, this is now. I think the idea is great. I think you're absolutely right. I've been to the quad many times, and it's very open, and it's nice for certain events or special occasions, but for everyday use of the quad, it'd be nice for the students to have some shade, a lot of shade, because there's like no shade, and it gets hot here. There's a lot of concrete, and if we're gonna have any grass in the schools, we should definitely have it. If anything, we should have it in areas where the kids are going to use it, where it's needed. And then, like Dr. Avila was saying, let's look at being more water efficient and maybe possibly replacing grass that's not needed or is not being used. But definitely, I think it's a great idea, and I really like the furniture and the high-tech desks and chairs. I think it's ironic that they're called ruckus chairs and ruckus desks because
Used for raising a ruckus.
I remember teachers saying, "Stop that ruckus! Stop that ruckus over there." But I like the designs. I think that's going to be a big help, and thank you, Mr. Roach, for those new innovative things that are going to be coming to Frisbee. I'm sure the staff over there is happy about all of these positive changes, and we want to make sure that they know that we're here to support them in anything that we can. So, like you said, as long as it's beneficial to the students, if we need to rip out concrete and plant grass, plant trees, I don't think there's anybody on this board that would be against anything that's going to benefit that school and those students and that staff there.
Well, I love the park-like atmosphere, but I wanted to suggest that perhaps the trees Dina was referring to were pulled out because they were uprooting the sidewalks, and I imagine that was it. I don't know. And that's something, as you go forward with this, it's the type of tree you plant and where you plant them. You have to watch that, or all your concrete starts.
No sycamores. No sycamores.
And I do know that there are trees in front of the school, but they're not well developed. There's the ones I believe ones that were pulled, they were replaced, but they're not producing the shade right now. They're fairly young trees.
Okay, well, it looks good. I'm anxious to see it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we go to section C on tonight's agenda, and it's comments. Item C1 is public comments from the floor. At this time, any person wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes.
Russell Silva.
Where'd he go? Oh, there he is.
Good evening, board members, administration, and viewing audience.
Good evening.
My name is Russell Silva. I came here because I read something on Facebook from my daughter, and I want to read it to you. It said this morning I was getting Charlie ready for school. Charlie is my granddaughter. And while I was looking for red, white, and blue clothes, she asked, "What is Patriots Day?" So I sat her down on the bed and I told her where I was and what I saw. And my grandchild, excuse me, she got tears in her eyes. She recognized the importance of Patriots Day. And she's only 6 years old. And she told her mom that she was going to cry. And her mom said, that's okay. It is very sad, but it's important to remember. It's important to respect all that happened. So Charlie said, we should wear these clothes every day.
Oh.
And I was thinking about it. I gotta catch myself. I was thinking about it. Today, we said the Pledge of Allegiance. And we go to the baseball game and we hear the national anthem sung. And then we cheer at the end. And are we really cheering because of what that anthem means? Or are we cheering because that person hit that high note and held it? So I'm wondering, all of us, are we really being patriots throughout the year? Do you actually tell that soldier when you see them walking down the street that you thank them for their service? Or more so, what about the police officers or the firefighters? Because every one of those people are the front line of doing something to protect us. The military is the front line to give us our freedom. The police officers are the front line to protect you at home. And the firefighters will run into that building looking for that screaming voice. Who of us would do any of that? So my asking here is that the board and administration and the teachers and the classified employees show that respect to help the children understand just how important this day is. Because we can't lose any of that. We've lost several things in history over the past. People don't respect those anymore. We can't lose that. We have to carry it on. So for those 3,000 plus people that died in New York, let's make Patriots Day a daily day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Silva.
That's all we have.
That's all? Okay. Item C2, public comments on agenda items. Any person wishing to speak on an item on the agenda will be granted 3 minutes.
We have none.
Alrighty. Next we go to C3, comments from association executive board members, and we'll start with the Rialto Education Association, also known as REA. Going once, going twice. Alrighty. If they come after, we'll allow them back. Next we go to California School Employees Association, CSEA. Hello?
It's early in the year.
They're still on vacation.
All right. Next we go to Communication Workers of America, CWA. The price is right.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
And we just keep doing what we're doing at school. It's coming along, and basically just really glad to be back at school. And I like those ideas about the school. It looked a little less claustrophobic. So maybe that could be implemented in all of them. And thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Rialto School Managers Association, RSM.
SMA. Yes. Good evening, Vice President Montez, our school board, Dr. Avila, and our innovation team and viewing audience. My name is Angela Brantley, and I am the Vice President of Legislative Action for RSMA. Due to our scheduling conflict with our County Superintendent, Ted Alejandre's State of Education event that's happening in a couple of weeks, we're rescheduling our new manager's reception, and we'll let you know when that date and time will be. On behalf of our SMA, a very warm welcome to our newest members of the association. We have now 85 members, and we're growing. And so if you have yet to join us, we invite all of the school managers in Rialto to join RSMA. And we'd like to thank the Principals Collaborative Team and Mr. Kelly Bruce for all of your hard work and efforts in making the principals meeting more collegial and targeted for the needs of our principals and our students. Rialto and Eisenhower will be playing their first football league game at Eisenhower's new stadium, and our RSMA team is going to have our first tailgate social event there. So on Friday, September 28th, we hope to see everyone come out and tailgate with us, and more details will be coming. So thank you.
Thank you.
Brief note. This Friday, it's Eisenhower versus Fohi. And for the old timers in here, you know that used to be the rivalry. So it should be a good game.
And be nice. We don't want the pool getting full of green paint again. Last comments from Superintendent, number 4.
Thank you, Vice President Montes. Want to just, as I continue to visit schools and classrooms, just want to continue to thank the teachers, support staff, site admin, for continuing the great efforts of really transforming our programs here in the Rialto Unified School District. The excitement that I see in the kids, the eyes of the kids, and the learning that's taken place and the many different activities that I continue to see them engage in is just very, very touching. But I want to remind everyone that in spite of all the many things that we are doing, our primary focus will continue to be A through G, especially for the high schools. But as I've shared with elementary and middle school principals, they set the foundation for our kids accomplishing their A through G requirements. Literacy will continue to be one of our goals. Math, which for whatever reason hasn't gotten the attention that it deserves over the years. There's a lot of time, a lot of resources, a lot of emphasis that we placed on math this year, the same that literacy has received over the past 3 years. And we already see the enthusiasm among some of the groups of teachers that are being coordinated through Kelly Bruce and his team to get them excited about moving forward with our math scores, and also our continued efforts to reduce the suspensions of our kids here in Rialto. And we're trying to figure a positive way to say that, so maybe we will transition to school attendance versus the suspension. It's still addressing the very same thing. We want our kids on campuses in classrooms each and every day. We're also going to be changing our approach through media services, communication. Made it very clear that what we want to do is promote those 4 goal areas for the district. So 80% of all the communication that will come from media services will focus on those 4 areas. The other 20% will focus on other miscellaneous activities that are happening, but still within the auspices of the strategic plan, so that we're spending our time communicating the focus and the direction that we are moving in. And you saw, for those of you who view our videos, we published 2 videos in the past week or so, one featuring Casey Elementary School, Casey's Arcade, and Kelly Elementary School featured today, Bring a Parent to School Day. And you saw a different intro to those videos. So the marketing genius of Ricardo and Edith and Saida as a team are going to be changing the way that we communicate by elevating the quality of the videos that we produce, promoting our kids. And again, it's going back to that 80-20 formula. I want to be able to see 80% of the videos focusing on kids and 20% on adults, so that we can continue to highlight the great things that are happening amongst our kids here in the district. Also, don't want to jinx it, don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but one of our programs is up for a Golden Bell Award. That is an award issued by the California Association of School Board Members Association of California. It's a very prestigious and very difficult to obtain the Golden Bell recognition. We did submit for 3. So far, we've gotten word that we will have a site visit for our DSAC program. And we know that Ricardo and Saida have invested heavily in that, but it's really the kids who make that happen, the kids who present here, who report on their activities at each of the schools, and then the many things that they're involved in, as was the case last year when we were having the national plan walkout days, that our kids from DSAC kind of took the lead and held a session here with local officials, dignitaries, staff members here in the district, law enforcement, where, if you recall, our only job that day was to listen to the concerns of the kids. And they took those efforts back to their sites and really coordinated the activities for those planned days, where we didn't have any of our kids, except for, I want to say 20 at Rialto High School, who went from the classroom to the football field and manifested their protest and then returned to the classroom. But as a district, we did not have the experience that other districts did, with a lot of kids leaving the campuses and going onto the streets to manifest their protests. And a lot of it had to do with DSAC and the leadership that they showed at their particular sites. Today, I had the opportunity to attend as the honorary member of Rialto Women's Club of Rialto. I went in, was able to join them for lunch, and made a presentation to them and thanked them for all the things that they do to partner with the students in our district in our efforts to continue to move them along, not only through our K-12 system, but into the college ranks through the scholarships that they offer annually. And our professional development will continue to focus on equity and social justice, strategics, special education, and instruction. And just to be clear, there are concerns that are raised from time to time as to why principals are always away from campus. And at the same time, there are demands, so to speak, that we train our principals. In order to train them, they have to be off campus. And so I ask that whether it's staff, parents, or members of the community that understand that we're doing everything that we need to do to make sure that the capacity of our administrators are are elevated enough in order to help transform our district, but that will require them not being present at their sites each and every day. There has to be a balance. We don't want to pull them, many times per week either.
80-20, 80-20.
But if 80% of the time they can be on campus, they'll be away from the campus 20% of the time. It's a balance that we're trying to spread throughout the district and the many approaches that we're taking in order to achieve the goals that we have set forth. And with that, I'm done.
Thank you, Dr. Avila. Next, we'll go to our student board member. Since we're on item 5, comments from members of the Board of Education. Take it away.
Thank you, Vice President Montes. Good evening. Today I attended the very first DSAC meeting of the school year. We started off by introducing ourselves, although we had a little problems matching our fruits and vegetables to us. We got through it. And after that, our superintendent, Dr. Avila, gave us a wonderful and very inspirational speech. I know he talked about how he became who he is today, and I know that left us with very much motivation to be who you want to be, and don't let anything or anyone stop you from that. Thank you, Dr. Avila. I truly believe that this year is going to be a great year. This month, our high schools are getting ready for our fall blood drive. At Rialto High School, we're actually letting our students in the medical assisting and nurses pathway, they will be able to assist us in the live stream personal and learn more about their future professions. And I invite you all to our upcoming event. ASB and Ballet Folclórico will be hosting a dance, Una Noche Bajo de las Estrellas, on September 22nd from 6 to 10 in our quad. And just join us for a night of banda music, dancing, performances, and delicious food and drinks. And everyone is welcome, and I hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you, school board member, student school board member Jasmine Hernandez. Next, we'll go to school board member Mr. Joyala.
Well, thank you, Vice President Montes. Tonight, I would like to share some thoughts on how we can continue to help our kids and our staff. There's many ways to try to help them, and I've brought up different types of topics. It's early in the year, but I would like to address, to start with, just bullies, because bullies come at all levels. And what I want to share a comment on the bullies is bullies function from actually they're kind of like cowards, because they only go after people they can push around. And so if this message gets out to our kids that bullies are cowards, and it's explained to them that they only go after people they can push around, who wants to be a bully? And you still have staff, adults, act the same way. And this kind of leads into another area where maybe makes us think about how to handle our staff. And it is complicated. It's like a juggling act. There's so many needs, so many things that we are trying to achieve. And, as long as we stay focused, that we want to help our kids. But I want to bring and touch upon, there's basically 3 forms of government. There's autocratic, there's democratic, and there's laissez-faire. Here, Rialto Unified School District, our staff are trained. They're professionals. So I don't see a need for the autocratic approach. However, if we were in a prison and these people have defined who they were and can't behave, then you need an autocratic approach, which tells us, do we need to be autocratic or a little more on the democratic side? But then if you have true professionals, people who really want to make a difference, then maybe give them a little laissez-faire, a little autonomy. Let them make some mistakes. Just one of their ideas, if it comes to fruition, it's going to benefit us all. So we don't want to close the doors and get too, I guess you could say, solidified in concrete. Let's keep that imagination door open, and let's not be afraid. Like Dr. Avila said when he first came on board, learn from your mistakes, but don't be afraid to make them. And come up with your ideas. Let's be fresh. And it's not easy because, you know, you're afraid that something's going to go south, especially from staff that's been here for many, many years. They figure, oh, why even try? No one's going to listen to me. I'll just go to the staff meeting and take my notes, and I'll go back to my classroom. I'm not going to tell anybody this, but I'm just going to do the same old stuff I did before. But if you give them a little autonomy and you give them a chance to grow and feel appreciated, and they know that here in Rialto, this is a caring environment. You know, we're going to support you because you're going to take care of our children, and our children eventually will take care of us. And if we all understand how that works, then hopefully we'll have a government here in Rialto that launches into the 21st century in a way we want to move. Thank you so much for the opportunity just to share a few words.
Next, we'll go to board member Ms. Dina Walker.
I just want to say thank you for that. I think that resonates with all of us in some kind of capacity. And just to say that two things. The upcoming next week, is it next week? Next week on the 20th, the district will be having their college fair. That you can go to college fair at Carter High School. So you all know college is my thing, so I got to talk about it and tell about it. So 11th and 12th graders in Rialto Unified School District should have an opportunity to go. Make sure that if you are there, no kids or families or whatever, that they get on the bus to go to the college fair next week at Carter High School. The other thing is I just wanted to touch on the fact that I had an opportunity to go to the first session this morning for PBIS. Had a speaker come in and talk about some of the. The book was The Nurturing Effect. I know Melissa had given it. Miss Rubio had given me the book, and so I was there just for the first hour. But a couple of things that the presenter talked about really resonated with me, and one of the things was paths. About how you're dealing with and having kids be better and thrive in schools. And paths was positive. Was it positive? Oh God, now I've written it down. That's how old I am. I can't remember. I don't know. But one of it was alternative thinking strategies. Positive alternative thinking strategies was paths. And although I didn't get to sit, he was concluding that session and going to the next. So I'm going to research more and figure that out. But when I heard it, I just thought about the fact positive alternative thinking strategies. For young people to, have an environment where they can think alternatively, right? Whether it be their own behaviors or consequences or whatever that is. Just to know that our staff is actually being trained on these other things, these innovative ways to engage our students for their success on our campuses. So thank you again to the two student services for giving us this opportunity. I learned something in just that hour that I was there, and I'm going to research it and take it back, and next thing I'll be saying something else, and I know Dr. I was like, dang, don't tell her any more stuff. But just thank you again for that. And lastly, just a comment, and I usually don't comment on what people say at the podium, but thank you, Mr. Silva, for your comments. And now I'm gonna get teary-eyed because the 9/11 was just this week, just yesterday, and thinking about being Patriots Day and patriots, and because of even a lot of the unrest that has gone on in just in the last couple of years in the United States, and historically for African Americans, we don't often think about us being patriots because of the historical, things that have happened to us as a culture as African Americans, being patriots to the country or things of that sort. But you saying that makes me just remember and think about the fact that African Americans have always been patriots. Mm-hmm. We fought for our own. We fought for the country that enslaved us and fought with them to get our freedom.
Every single war.
To understand that. And then generations of our own family have been involved in the military. And it touched me so much because I thought about it yesterday in the flags and I watched ceremonies and the whole thing. And every generation of my family, I have had patriots. My father was a Marine. And when he was buried, they rolled his flag and presented it to me. I then presented it to my older brother, who wasn't his son, but who was in the military. And I presented my flag to my older brother because he was a seaman. My grandfather on my father's side was in the military. My grandfather on my mother's side was in the Army. My two uncles, my father's brothers, were also in the military. And then I married a military man. I am actually and have been ex-military wife. And so just to talk about and to tell people about what Patriots Day really means. And it's not just a day that we celebrate that one day, but it is our life because it encompasses our entire lives. And for me, not only the historical generational part of being a patriot, but culturally and historically, to always understand that I have been always, and will probably continue to be a patriot. And there are other ways, and all the time we need to bring that and put it forth, other than just on the day when we celebrate things that have happened negatively in our past, but we celebrate and educate our communities and our young people about Patriots Day and our own patriots themselves. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Tina Walker. Next, we go to Board Clerk, Ms. Nancy O'Kelly.
Yes, thank you, Dina. Yesterday was a hard day, I think, for most of us. Yeah. And I saw something on Facebook, though, but it reminded me of how I felt soon after 9/11. 9/11 was, there's no words to describe it. It was horrible. But I miss the America of 2002, the following year. Because if you remember that year, we all loved each other. We were more united than we've ever been. And it was beautiful. Stores sold out of flags and this and that. Everybody felt the pull of being an American. I don't know why it took a horrendous attack on us to do that. But anyway, I look at it this way. 9/11 is like the Holocaust. We must never forget what happened. Okay. Anyway, thank you all for coming tonight. Let's get on to happier things. Well, again, I have friends and family on the East Coast, and I am worried about them tonight. My sister-in-law's in South Carolina, 2 daughters in Florida, and here we go with the weather again. And isn't it strange? Last year and this year, too. Not just one hurricane. 3 or 4 or more. It's just unbelievable what's happening with the weather. But the scariest thing, it's been downgraded to a Category 3, but the worst part of it, I guess, from what the weathermen are saying, is the storm surge is going to be huge, over 30 feet or something. So I don't know what that's going to do to people's homes. And I wanted to share something I read. I read this interesting article about what the experts are predicting for our children. And one of the things they were saying is that children that started middle school this year could find themselves working until they are 100 and having up to 40 different jobs their life expectancy would be about 120. Think of that. Kids that are in our middle schools right now are predicted to live to 100. I mean, to work till 100 and live to 120.
No.
I'm just saying, repeating what the people said.
I'm good at 61.
The downside, wait a minute, the downside of this is what the article pointed out, is that as technology advances, there's going to be fewer jobs for humans because robots are going to take over so many of the jobs. So they're going to live longer, and they're supposed to work longer, but there aren't going to be any jobs. So I don't know. They said unemployment could be as high as 50%. And between 30 and 80% of all jobs available today will disappear in the next 20 to 30 years. So our student kids have to be prepared for a variety of jobs that can't be replaced for robots. I just thought I'd share that with you because it's interesting but sad at the same time. So anyway, thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, guys. Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. Please excuse me if I'm a little rusty. It's been a while since I sat here, but I do want to wish Mr. Martinez, Board President Mr. Martinez, very well that he recovers soon. He's not feeling very good tonight, and that's why he wasn't here, feeling a little under the weather. So we pray for a quick recovery, and hopefully he'll be here for our next board meeting. So well wishes to him and his family, and hopefully he gets better soon. It's been a while since I've sat in the seat, so please excuse me for the mistakes that I've already made, and we'll probably make a few more before we get out of here.
It's okay.
I do want to just comment on a few things. Dr. Avila is absolutely right about the DSAC leadership, and I hope that California School Board Association does award the DSAC, the district ballot award, Golden Bell Award for their leadership for the program, because the DSAC students are awesome. They come here, and sometimes they do a better job at it than us speaking in public there at the podium. It's good practice for them. I've always advocated for making sure that our students, that the youth, become good public speakers. It's very essential. You've got people that are highly intelligent, but yet they can't say one word in front of a group of people. And again, that comes with leadership, right? I was at the Carter High School demonstration that the DSAC held over there, organized over there, and I was very impressed. They held, an in-house protest.
Open mic.
Demonstration with an open mic. The students were just really, really all on the same page in regards to the protest, whether they agreed with it or not. They all participated. Staff was there supervising. The media was there to talk to them and hear them. Dr. Avila and other leaders from the district were there. I happened to stop by, and I was just really impressed. And I thank again Dr. Chavez and all the leadership at Carter High School for making sure that those students were safe and allowed to protest and exercise their rights to protest gun violence and whatever else the students want to speak about and protest. With all of this talk in the country and controversy about whether people should protest like this or protest like that, or whether they're protesting sitting at a counter or taking a knee, or it's just sometimes you just got to shut the Facebook down or whatever it is kind of social media you're into, because it can be mind-boggling, I do want to say that I do believe, and I respect everybody's rights to protest, and I don't believe that anyone taking a knee for the anthem is doing it to disrespect our military or anybody in this country. I believe they're exercising the right to bring awarenesses, and that's what the whole fighting for our rights and our freedom is about, right? On one hand, people are sacrificing their lives for freedom and for rights, but on the other hand, you get upset when someone's exercising those rights that that were fought for. But anyhow, I won't get into that whole thing. I do want to say that my family too has served and is serving currently in the military. I have uncles that have been in the Marines, in the Army. I've got cousins that are Marines and in the Army, and my heart goes out to everyone who has family and loved ones in the military, because during times of war, you don't know whether they're going to come back. You don't know when you're going to see them again. So it's difficult. And two, I want to just say that I don't think anyone who was old enough to remember 9/11 is ever going to forget where they were or what they were doing at the time that news hit the TV, and all of a sudden everybody started finding out about what was going on live. Not after the first plane, but actually got to see live the second plane. I happened to be changing diapers. Twins. I was 21 years old. The twins were only months old. And I was changing diapers because I was able to help during the morning, during the day. I was working at night. And I'll never forget changing diapers and at the same time watching the TV and thinking, what the heck is going on in New York City? Hopefully it doesn't happen in California. But it was just traumatizing for everyone who witnessed it, who lived it at the time. The whole nation was just, felt like was in ruins emotionally. And it's something that many of us will never forget and will always carry with us in our hearts, and our prayers go out to all of the people who lost their lives that day, for the bravery of all of the first responders who were there that day, who were there everywhere else, are there everywhere else, always ready, always willing to respond. Sometimes it's easy to get upset and criticize our first responders when we don't agree with some of the tactics, or maybe some decide to abuse authority. But it sure does feel good when they respond to an emergency, or when they take down a bad guy. We say yes, but again, it makes us think and appreciate about our local first responders, right? And our first responders here in the district are security officials and our local police and whatnot, right? But with that said, if someone decides to protest an issue and decides to exercise their right in any way they choose to, it doesn't mean that we should discredit them or look at them as anything other than patriotic, because in my opinion, protesting in any type of social injustice or any wrong is the most patriotic thing that a person can do. So again, thank you everybody, Mr. Silva, for your comments, and everybody else's that were shared in regards to Patriots Day and 9/11. I do want to just give us brief history. I'm not going to be long because I know I've already been rambling on for too long. Regarding Folhigh and Eisenhower, for those of you who don't know, Folhigh and Eisenhower had a rivalry that still is legendary. Mm-hmm. I remember being a kid and having older cousins at Folhigh and having relatives at Eisenhower, and hearing about Eisenhower, a group of Eisenhower football players sneaking into the middle of the night at Fontana High School, and dumping gallons of green paint in their swimming pool. Oh. Because they were upset, because they had a rivalry, because they used to, beat each other at the football games. And
that must be why Folhigh snuck into our school and stole our big eagle in the main entry.
Right. So there was some vandalism going on back and forth. There was even fights here and there at some of the games. But Folhigh and Eisenhower used to be powerhouses in football, legends. They won many championships. They've won many championships over the years. They had really great coaches and big rivalries at the time. And anybody who's anybody, regarding football and high school football knows that there was just, really green hats and all green wearing Eisenhower fanatics, and same thing with full high maroon and burgundy, fanatics regarding football. And if it wasn't the football players and it was the family members that were kind of like the Raiders and the other teams nowadays fight each other, and the Dodgers and the Angels and whatnot. That's how those high schools were back then. So just a brief history on that. I did just also want to touch on what Dr. Avila spoke regarding the suspension rates, and maybe some people not being too happy or too welcoming of lowering suspension rates or lowering suspensions, or hearing about our district doing a good job at not having so many suspensions. Some people assume or start thinking, well, that's because they're letting all the kids get away with all the ruckus. They're letting all the kids get away with murder. Nobody's being held accountable. No, it's not that no one's being held accountable. It's that the leadership of this district truly believes, and with the support of the board, that restorative justice and one of the many things of restorative justice being PBIS, positive behavioral intervention, we deserve to give it a try. Our students, this community deserves to give it a try. It's been proven that the zero tolerance policies of before don't work. And we can't continue to keep doing something that doesn't work. We need to try something else. I'll give you an example. If anybody ever knows anyone in their family or neighbors or whoever, a kid that gets beat, not spanked, the kid that gets beat. Well, if the parents beat the kid because not only do they believe in spanking and lenient spanking, but actual beating, well, what's going to happen when that kid grows big and becomes bigger than the parents? What's going to happen? If the kid's getting beat because that's the way they discipline them, what happens when that kid grows 100 pounds bigger than the father? Is the father still going to beat that kid? I don't think so. Good point. So we got to try different things. The prison pipeline and the controversy and the debate regarding the prison pipeline, the school to prison pipeline, we don't want to be the champions of suspensions here and expulsions here. We don't want to say Rialto Unified School District has the highest suspension rates and expulsion rates. Hooray for them. We don't want to champion that. We want to champion other ways of reaching to the kids. And if we have to change the title of lowering the suspension rates to increasing the attendance rates, then let's be it. Let's do it. But we have to try something, and I commend our superintendent and the leadership of the district, and I know it's difficult for some people, but we commend everyone and we thank everyone for really trying to and succeeding with the PBIS program and taking part in what's considered restorative justice, because we've got to try something else. It's like what Chris Rock said. And everybody used to put Chris Rock off as just a funny comedian, but then once he starts speaking about truth and about matters that are important to people, they start saying, oh wow, this guy's actually intelligent. Chris Rock said, what happens when you have one family who tells their child, even if it's not true, they tell their child, you're going to be great, you're going to be awesome, you're going to be huge, you're going to be huge, you're going to be great, you're going to be great, you're going to be smart. All their life they're hearing that. And then you got another family where the child is being told, you ain't nothing. You're nothing. You're a nobody. Or at school they might be hearing it. You're a nothing. You're a nobody. Or maybe they're not hearing it, but they're feeling it because they're getting referrals and suspensions for every single little thing. What happens to that kid? So I commend the school. I commend our schools for trying and for making progress, and I commend our district. And I believe we've received some recognition regarding those steps that we've been taking, and I can't thank you enough, because just thank you. Tonight we're going to be approving some items, hopefully, regarding taking steps further to help our youth and to help this community. So hopefully everything goes well. And last but not least, just to end on a positive note, Ms. O'Kelly, please do not share those negative predictions regarding the future of
I just
jobs
thought
and-
they were interesting.
No, I agree. No, thank you. But I have this question. What does it take to live? What does it take to live? What does it take to live? Does it really take a job to live? It takes food. Food can be grown. You don't need a job to grow food. Air, clean water. So just keep that in mind. Let's keep the future hopeful and plant some food in your backyard. Thank you. That's all for tonight. Thank you. Let's move on. Item D, public hearing, open public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any person wishing to speak on the item on public hearing agenda will be granted 3 minutes. Item 1, public hearing, pupil textbook and instruction material programs, reference D 1.1. Do we
have
have
none.
anyone wishing to speak?
We have none.
Okay. Do we have a motion to close public hearing?
We have to vote on opening it first.
Exactly. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move to close public hearing.
Second.
Time is 8:32. Hold on. Okay. Close public hearing, motion to close.
So moved.
Thank you. And do we have a second?
Joe and I motioned and he seconded it already.
Well, I'll honor it. Mrs. O'Kelly motioned it, and Mr. Ayala seconded it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Closed public hearing is approved. Next, we go to consent calendar items. All items on the consent calendar will be acted upon in one motion unless pulled by the Board of Education members or the superintendent for individual action. Approved consent calendar items reference E through J. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. O'Kelly and Ms. Walker. Now, regarding items E through J, do we have any polls or any discussion? Going once. Going twice. Hearing none, can we have a preferential vote by student board member?
Aye.
Thank you. And vote by board members.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we go to item K, discussion action items. Item K1 is to approve an agreement with Staff Rehab to provide registered nurses. I think I said nurses. I meant
You did.
I meant nurses, RNs, and licensed vocational nurses, LVNs, substitute coverage during the 2018-19 school year, effective September 13th, 2018 through June 30th, 2019, at a cost of $62 to $75 per hour for registered nurses and $40 to $45 per hour for licensed vocational nurses, for an amount not to exceed $100,000 to be paid from the general fund, reference K 1.1.
Move to approve K 1.1.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Kelly and Mr. Ayala. And do we have a vote by board members?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we go to item K2, adopt a resolution number 18-19-05, excusing the absence of board member Dina Walker from Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018, regular meeting of the Board of Education, reference K 2.1. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve
Second.
item K 2.1.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Kelly and Mr. Ayala. All in favor?
Aye.
One abstention.
Aye, and one abstention. Motion passes. Next, we go to item K3, approve the 2017-2018 unedited actuals financial report as presented at no cost to the district. Do we have a motion? Reference K 3.1. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Kelly. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Dina Walker. And do we have any discussion?
No. Positive report.
No. Okay. Vote by board members?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next, we go to item K4, approve the payoff of the 1997 and 2006 certificates of participation at a current year expense of $3,651,773.96 and a cost savings of $767,163.04 to be paid from the general fund, reference K 4.1. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
And question?
Okay.
I just assume if this is on the agenda that we can comfortably afford to do this.
That's correct.
Okay, I understand we're going to save a lot of money, but we're also dishing out a lot of money, so I just wanted to be sure.
You're correct.
Okay, thank you.
If you don't mind, Mr. Islam, could you just give a brief explanation for people listening at home and don't have the agenda item in front of them?
Yeah, this is a certificate of participations district borrow 1997 and 2006 building our what do you call it, JU Middle School, Curtis Elementary School. And 2006, we borrow additional a little over $4.7 million for Warner Elementary School and Rialto Middle School. At that time, the interest rate was high. As you go back, those years, now interest rate being low, and we are fiscally sound good. So I felt that this is the right time to pay off this debt, and this is going to improve our credit rating. It's like you borrow money, you pay off your loan, it improves your credit rating for the district. This is good timing. Interest is 6%. As you know, you keep your money in the bank, give you less than 1%, even less.
Right.
So this money, this paying off is my recommendation to the governing board. Savings money and also increasing our credit rating for our districts for future need as we moving forward.
Thank you, Mr. Islam.
Thank you.
With that, if we don't have any more questions or comments, can we get a vote by board members? Aye. Motion carries. Next, we go to item K5, adopt resolution number 18-17-07, which declares that the GAN limit appropriations in the 2017-2018 unedited actuals and 2018-2019 budget do not exceed the limitations imposed by Proposition 4, reference K5.1 through 2. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Alrighty, and do we have discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we go to K6, adopt resolution number 18-1909, authorizing the application for grant funding for the California Energy Commission CEC GFO-17-607 school bus replacement for California Public School Districts, county offices of education, and joint power authorities, reference K 6.1 through 2. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Royale and Ms. O'Kelly. Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we go to K7, approve an agreement with Professional Tutors of America to provide one-to-one academic remediation effective September 13th, 2018 through June 30th, 2019 at a cost of $150,000 to be paid from special education funds. Reference K7.1. Do we have any discussion?
Did we move?
No, but I'll make a motion.
Apologies, it's on the next page. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ayala, and Mrs. Walker seconded that. Any discussion?
I had a question. Well, I'm just wondering how they're going to be utilized. Are they going to be at every school? Are they going to be, housed at particular schools? Or how is this going to be done?
So we'll give a little time for Bridget Ely to go ahead and come up to the podium. I guess my reading of it is that we have IEP mandates for this tutoring.
Right.
And so it is compliance. And so the particulars of what site and to what extent is really more in Bridget's area or arena, but it is based on settlement agreements for us to be providing that IEP tutoring that is warranted.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm guessing.
I just don't know how many tutors and how are they going to do.
It depends on the individual education plan for each.
Oh, I know that. I'm wondering how, for this money, how many tutors are we getting? How many hours of tutoring? And how is it going to be facilitated? I don't think she's here.
I want to say I think it's based on the individual student's needs.
I'm going to wait.
Okay.
Why don't we come back to this?
Well, is she here or not here?
There's a seat down the hall, but she's not in the seat right now.
She's gone. Do you need her to come back?
No, I just I think if I correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kelly, Mr. Bruce, this item is to contract with Professional Tutors of America to provide academic remediation to students whose individual IE plans mandate that we provide them a certain amount of one-to-one hours. So if the item is to approve at a cost of $150,000 to be paid from the special education funds, that means those $150,000 are going to be used specifically to remediate specific hours to specific students whose IEP plans call for a certain amount of
I would
one-on-one
like to know how many students are going to be serviced and how often they're going to receive tutoring and that type of stuff. I don't believe that was.
Yeah, that would
not
require,
included.
that would require confidential student information.
I don't want their names.
No, but I mean, I think can we get a report?
Mr. Montes, I'll have a report for you for this Friday, and I believe that these are the projected numbers. It's really not to exceed 150,000 because we don't know exactly how many hours will be provided.
But could you have Ms. Ely give the board? Could you send us a report how many students this is going to cover
Qualified.
and how many hours it's covering? Because I'm sure that for every individual student, it's a different amount of hours.
Correct. We'll do that.
Okay. Are you okay with that, Mrs. O'Kelly?
Uh-huh.
All right.
Well, I don't want to vote on it, though, particularly, until I have the information I've asked for.
So Ms. Brantley
Okay.
has
Would you like
some
to share?
information? Yes.
She apologizes. She had already left, but she said that it's for 10 tutors, 12 students, and it's between up to 100 hours per student. And it's based on the settlement agreements through the IEP. So 10 tutors, 12 students, and a max of 100 hours per student through the settlement agreement.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Would you still like a report sent to the board, Ms. O'Kelly?
No, but I definitely would like to see one after the hours are used up and how the students did.
Okay, do we have any more questions or comments regarding item K7? So there was a motion and a second. Vote by board members?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next we go to item K8. approve an agreement with Clay Counseling Solutions, successfully motivating African American resiliency and training, SMART, S-M-A-R-A-R-T program to provide a full-scale mentorship program to students at Rialto USD, September 13, 2018 through June 30th, 2019 at a cost of $79,750 to be paid from the general fund. Reference item K 8.1. Do we have any comments or questions? Well, we need a motion.
What
I'm
does
sorry.
this program entail?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think
Yeah.
I believe we need a motion and a second. Did we?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. O'Callaghan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ayala. And okay, discussion. What does this program entitle and entail?
So this agreement, and I guess I need to remind us that we are in differentiated assistance as a district because of the supports that we need to provide to our African American students and our foster youth. And we have actions in our LCAP and in our strategic plan to support both of those groups. For our foster youth, we adjusted our PBIS counselor's role in lieu of only being at the high schools. They've now picked up the elementary and middle school foster youth on their caseload. So we have specific actions for foster youth, and then this is one of our actions for our African American youth. We've worked with Clay Counseling for several years. They've done excellent work with our students. This grant will also have them collaborate with Young Visionaries Leadership Academy with Mr. Terrence Stone. They'll provide mentoring. They're going to provide after-school tutoring and college access information, parenting classes for our parents. And so this is part of what our District African American Parent Advisory Council presented last fall and asked for, and our district put it in our LCAP as one of our actions. And so this is
Great.
one of those. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any more questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
One abstention.
One abstention? Okay, so that's 3 ayes and 1 abstention. Motion passes. We go to K9, adopt resolution number 18-19-11, sufficiency of standards, aligned textbooks and instructional materials. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Walker, and I think that was a tie. We'll give it to Ms. O'Callaghan. Ladies first. Any questions or comments?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we go to K10, approve the recommendations of the Administrative Hearing Panel, AHP, stipulated expulsion, case number 18-19-1, reinstatements, case number 16-17-48, 16-17-10, 14-15-64, 14-15-18, 11-12-115, and denied reinstatement, case number 17-18-11. Do we vote by board members?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And the next regular meeting of the Board of Education of Rialto Unified School District will be held on Wednesday, September 26th, 2018 at 7 p.m. at the Dr. John R. Casalunas Education Center, 182 East Walnut Avenue, Rialto, California. Materials distributed or presented to the Board of Education at the board meeting are available upon request from the Superintendent's office. And with that, we go to item L, adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
And a second. Thank you, Ms. O'Callaghan and Ms. Walker. Preferential vote by student board member.
Aye.
Thank you, Ms. Hernandez. And vote by board members.
Aye.
The time is 8:49.
Okay.